So in this class, we were introduced to the concept of the Francophonie. The Francophonie being a commonwealth of 49 French-speaking countries. The idea behind it is to promote French culture throughout the world. And I mean, that sounds great, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you ask someone who's actually living in the Francophonie, one of these countries that is part of the Francophonie, especially in Africa, which is home to the largest number of Francophonie countries, the description you get of the Francophonie is actually very different. So to kind of fill us in on that emic perspective, we have a citizen of Burundi, one of the French-speaking countries in Africa, one of the members of the Francophonie in Africa, Cliff Umbagaya, and he's going to kind of tell us what they think the Francophonie actually is. So the Francophonie is a good thing. I mean, that's what we're taught in this class.
At some extent, because the Francophonie pretty much established the ruling of French in Africa. Because after the
the ruling of France didn't want to be part of the Francophonie. That's what we're taught, because they wanted to avoid this idea that it was an attempt at neo-colonialism. Are you trying to say that they're actually using the Francophonie to control their former colonies?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, because there's nothing, every country that's part of the Francophonie, there's nothing can be planned, there's nothing can be achieved that it doesn't promote the French interest. So therefore, every plan has to be accepted in order to be executed by the French.
I mean, we're talking about all the members of the Francophonie in Africa are independent.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own independent militaries, economies.
No, they're not independent at all, because all the military schools, everybody military, they are training in France. Although
the African military leaders who are supposed to promote the interests of their own countries are being trained in France, the country that you say is actually exploiting them.
Exactly. As being part of the Francophonie, that means that everything has to be provided by France or allies, which means that you have to supply and then obey the rules in order to be part of the Francophonie. And then they give you everything. They give you like scholarship, military training, private investor. They are being accepted by France in order to operate it in your country.
Well, I mean, what if your country wants to, offer construction contract to build a city or to build roads or railroads? I mean, they can go to whoever they want. They can go to
again
the Americans. They can go to the Greeks. They can go to Saudi Arabia to offer that contract, right?
That's an interesting point you raise, because that's not doable. You cannot do that. As being part of the Francophonie, any infrastructure plan, in order, before you get in practice, it has to be approved by French. And
you're saying they have to offer that contract to a French company,
that's
even if another foreign contractor might do it for less.
Yeah, definitely, because most of the countries that are part of French Francophonie, the biggest investment, they get it from private investor, and those most private investors are from France. And therefore, in order to have any plan taking place, it has to be approved by France, which means like some of the countries have to be approved by IMF, International Monetary Fund.
Well, while we're speaking of that, though, I mean, all the African countries, the Francophonie, actually use a currency given to them by France, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there you go. That's the reason why they're doing business with French companies, because they all use the same currency, right?
But it's also
I'm sure if there was an African country, a member of the Francophonie, that wanted to create their own currency, they could leave the system, and they'd probably be better able to work within the global economy. I mean, hasn't there been Silvio Olympio of the Republic of Togo, I believe, wanted to take his country, a member of the Francophonie, off the French currency system? What happened to him, though?
I think the better way to put things together is to see the country that occupied by Francophone part and the country that in Anglophone. The country in Francophone, they are failing so dramatically than the countries in Anglophone, definitely.